It's surprising how much it didn't drop, and it's also surprising how much I hated myself during that year for not doubling year over year. Because I've
Wow.
watched you grow year. I'm like,
Mhm.
well, Gina just hit $1 million business, and I am like lower than I did last year. And some of our mutual coaches was like, Ashley, you got a divorce.
Got a
Ashley,
divorce.
you like really changed your entire life.
Hello, hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Today I have Ashley Rose with us. This has been a long time coming. I think the last time I had you on the podcast was probably 2022 as well, or that time frame. And so much has happened. I want to do a catch up, but we're really here to have like an honest conversation about business, entrepreneurship, what this whole thing is like. But before we dive into that, introduce yourself, Ashley. What do you do? What do you sell? Like, what's the thing you sell?
Yeah.
And also, when did you start your business?
Cool. So I'm Ashley. I started my business in 2020. I'm an Airtable and automation expert. So I specifically help coaches, service providers, and agency owners create automated systems to manage their clients, their client onboarding, offboarding, and their client results tracking. So all things like programs, offers, just automations is my zone of genius. And the thing that I sell, I've sold so many different types of offers over the last 5 years. And the thing that we sell now is a $2,500 systems consulting container, basically a group program. And we help people set up Airtable templates to run their offers for their clients.
Amazing. I use all of your stuff. We love Ashley over here. In fact, our business would not run without Airtable whatsoever. So definitely go check out Ashley. And when did you start? Was it 2020 or 21?
April of 2020. I left a full-time job in February of 2020 to do in-person events consulting. And then very quickly the world shut down and I had to pivot. So I launched a little online course because I'd been in the online course world before. My first course was called Be Your Own COO. And it was like systems, operations stuff. And it's honestly like that core of that had some Airtable templates and it's really just like spiraled and refined since then.
What was the job? Like, actually, let's go into a little bit of your background. What's your background? What was the job before you quit? How did you
Yeah.
get here?
Yeah, so I think it's interesting when people are in the online world and you're like, I've, every job seems so random, but there's a very clear through line. Like, I was a tour manager for a rock band. I was the head of operations and customer service for a tech-free digital detox summer camp for adults. Like, all of these just like very bizarre things. Event producer, and really what it all came down to is like I help very creative people with big ideas streamline, operate, like bring those ideas to life in a way that is like sustainable, scalable, all of those things. So I was working for a course creator. Like when I was a tour manager, I also was like answering her like customer support emails and all that stuff. And I was watching all of our clients have these amazing like results with their courses. I was like, I think I can do courses. I think I could do that. So I kind of was getting away from the background and decided to like launch my own services. And that's really how it all started.
Amazing. That is, you are really in events.
Yeah, I've done like events, like 2,000 person events in Tulum. Like I did a lot of operations, and so much of my life was built off of spreadsheets. And I wish I had Airtable when I was like managing all of these events across the country. And just like there's so many things that I was like, wow, Airtable really is the solution for so many things. I got diagnosed with ADHD in 2020 as well, a couple months after I started my business. And that like hyper focus of like finding that tool and solution could like it just everything like took off from there.
So, for those who may not know, what is Airtable?
Airtable at its core is kind of nerdy, but it is a database platform. A lot of the times people are using spreadsheets in their business to track their clients, using Google Forms for onboarding forms. And really, a spreadsheet is the best tool people had, but it's not a database. And you really need like a central source of truth where all your data can talk to each other. And Airtable really is that solution. So it's a software like anything else, but it's just like so intuitive, very powerful, specifically specifically for agency owners and coaches to be able to manage their clients and roll out really cool features to make your programs even better, get your clients better results, automate offboarding reminders and onboarding messages, all of that stuff.
I feel like Airtable is almost like if you wanted to build your own custom operations software, but you didn't have an engineer,
Yes.
Airtable can do basically what it's, you have to like get some technical knowledge for sure, but Airtable can do what an engineer would build out for you if you were to build a custom software.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I have a client, he does floor installation,
Mm.
like all different floorings in New Jersey. And he was sharing with me his software. He shared his screen. And I was like, this looks like hospital software from the 80s, like that bad. And I'm like, Airtable could do this.
Yeah.
It's so much better.
So much better. And what's so cool about Airtable, and especially with coaches, like you're a money coach, we have like just so many different types of coaches I work with. We all kind of do the same thing, but we also have very like a feedback review or a Q&A call. Those things are pretty standard, but you want some special customizations. And with a lot of other platforms, it's like, this is for a flooring company. And like, it's so rigid, and Airtable is so flexible to be like, I have this vision of a feature I want to add to my program. Could Airtable do it? And the answer almost 100% of the time is yes. And it's very easy and straightforward to do.
Oh my God, I haven't showed you yet. I built an Airtable base a couple weeks ago for my content repurposing. And the way it works is like you have assets, and then you can create pieces of content off of that core asset. And my goal is to track, because my goal is to track, like, I want to make at least 4 to 9 pieces of content per main asset I create.
Sure.
And it's all tracking it, and it's all
Beautiful.
like assigning to people. And I have my implementation notes, and I'm like, okay, OBM, do this, this, and this with this little piece of content. And it's amazing.
Love. Yeah. Once
So
you're
good.
in it, you cannot go back to any other way.
No, you really can't. Oh my God, so good. Okay. So that is what you do. Talk to us about the money. Let's start like really high level. How much money have you earned in your business? Maybe like, if you can off the top of your head, every, or in Airtable, I'm sure you can just pull it up.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
How much money have you earned every year that you've been in business?
Cool. Yeah, so I will say, so I started it in 2020, and I was not the best at tracking back then. So I don't have the best numbers there, but I do have pretty solid. Let me see what I've got. Okay, so we'll use 2021 as my first one, because 2020, I was barely getting started. I didn't know what I was offering. And I remember January of 2021, I had my first 10K month. And that was like a very big deal for me. And it felt like the most money I would ever have. And I also had no idea how to hold that money, taxes, any of that stuff. So 2021 is when things really started to kick off. 2021 was $137,000. 2022 was 165. 2023, 263. 2024, the year of the divorce, 257. So I went down, and it's now July, and I'm at 265. So I'm currently at the highest I've ever been for a year, and it's only July.
Oh my gosh. The fact that, well, first of all, I want to talk about the jump between 22 and 23. So you went from 165 to 263. That's a huge jump. And you're going through another huge jump right now, it sounds like.
Yeah.
But let's zoom in on 2024, the year of the divorce. The divorce.
The divorce. Dun, dun, dun.
How is it, if you look back, how is it that you only made like less than 10K less? Like you went from 263 to 257. You would think as a sole proprietor, right? You're like, you're running your own thing. Your income would drop much more dramatically if you have a big life event that takes a lot of your time.
Yeah.
It really didn't drop that much.
It's surprising how much it didn't drop, and it's also surprising how much I hated myself during that year for not doubling year over year. Because I've watched you grow year. I'm like, well, Gina just hit $1 million business, and I am like lower than I did last year. And some of our mutual coaches was like, Ashley, you got a divorce. Ashley, you like really changed your entire life. So I think honestly, it was a lot of the systems that I had created and that I was really dedicated on selling one offer. So I've had that $2,500 group program since 2022, honestly. And so it just like I had done launches, and also like we have a pretty good word of mouth. Like people really like our stuff. So the more people, like our launches grew over time because people were talking about it. So many times people actually come to me from being in your program because they're like, the way Gina's programs run are so like, I feel so taken care of. It feels so seamless. I want my programs to feel like that. So
Yeah.
our clients, like results from our program really did a lot of the heavy lifting for me. So yeah, we really zoned in on like low lift, like email marketing, those things that I could be like sad and depressed and my business could still run.
What a testament to the actual operations.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, but tell us about the ugly part. what, what if you could go back and maybe wave a magic wand? Not necessarily the divorce itself, but like in the business, what do you feel like were some mistakes you made along the way that you wish, like, I really didn't have to have done that?
Yeah, I mean, I reference and send people all of the time your podcast series on identity spending or like just like the different types of spending. I did if you don't know Gina's principles, the only type of spending you should be doing is current problem spending. I was doing a lot of the other things, including one that you call identity spending, where in the very beginning of my business, I spent $15,000 on a 3-day in-person event in Los Angeles. I
I
didn't need
remember
that.
that.
Yep. Yep.
I
And
was on the call when you were
when I was
coached.
asking for
Yes,
permission to do that.
yes,
Yep.
yes.
And my very smart coach Kirsten at the time was like, you know what, Ashley, you can buy it, but like you have to believe that you got the ROI just by buying it and stepping into that identity shift. I got that identity shift. I used to be the event producer, and to be the person that's in the event that was going to it was something that was important to me. It is a $15,000 lesson I think I could have gotten for much, much cheaper. So like I was making a lot of those types of investments. And I think I was in some coaching worlds where it was kind of like that. It was like, it's like you have to put the 15K in to like up level. It was like a lot of that type of stuff, which I feel like you have some thoughts about.
Some.
Yeah, so I was making a lot of big investments with the hope of like, this is what a 6-figure earner does, and not like, does my business need this right now? So a handful of those things, like, I look at the 263K year, 250 year, and I'm like, yeah, a lot. My profit was very low because I was also doing a lot of big ticket like coaching investments as well. So I had multiple coaching investments at a time that were like 10K at a time. And that really eats into the profit,
I think that, I mean, I'm not seeing it. Luckily, I'm not seeing it as much anymore. The whole like up level, spend 20K to up level.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing that messaging as much, although it was very prevalent for a long time. But it kind of goes into this like question that people will ask you they'll ask you in your marketing, but they'll also ask you as a coach, like, well, what would your 7-figure self do? And then the obvious question to that is like, well, my 7-figure self would spend the money on that thing because I could afford it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the better question is like, going back to current problems, right? What problem would your 7-figure self be solving with that? And do you have that problem right now?
Yeah.
Because to the point of like up leveling, it's so vague. And it's also like feeding into this narrative that you always have to spend more money to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's actually true.
I've been, especially since being in small business money school and really like looking at my finances, like I'm excited about having a very lean business. And like, I get excited about that. I'm like, wow. And like, we're at a point right now, like we could double our client load and my expenses won't really grow that much. And like, that is like the sign of an exciting business to me. And like, that feels very good.
That's so good. I did that last year. I didn't realize it till the end of the year. I spent like 280K in 2023 to make 500K. And then I spent like 285K last year to make $1 million.
Yeah.
So I spent the same. It was tighter in like certain categories where it's different, but yeah, it's such an interesting mentality. Are there any things that you did in terms of your actual offers itself? Because I know you pretty much have always had the $2,500 offer, but you've
Mhm.
dabbled with other things as well.
Yeah, I've ranged from doing like 10K VIP day Airtable builds to like $150 templates, like just kind of everything in between. And what I really found was like I found a sweet spot for what my clients need, but also what feels good on like my nervous system to deliver. Selling a 10K day with an Airtable system that like it's gonna break, it's gonna need refinement. It's like I can't do a year of support. There was like a lot of those, like a lot of like charge your like what is I was worried about giving so much away. And so I was really struggling with like some of the post support. There was just like delivery
Mm-hmm.
issues, figuring
Yeah.
that out. And now what we do is it's like very like I was like I can't be an agency. I was trying an agency for a while. Like there was just so much I was doing, and now really my group program is essentially a one-time payment to get into our agency. When they pay in
Mm.
full, they get a free 3-hour build day. After that, they can buy additional build days. So like that's like with my delivery assistants. And so with the way that that all has been working, like anytime somebody buys a new one, like that's pretty much just like straight up like profit for me because of the pricing, like the way that we have the pricing worked out. So I've figured out it's not just like, oh, let me like have one offer that's high ticket and this offer has less support. It's like everybody gets funneled into one offer and you can upgrade into more done for you support later. But that's really worked well for us.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that you were doing the buying more build days on the back end,
Mhm.
but first of all, it's interesting that you said you're more profitable than ever, but you're giving away a 3-hour build.
Yeah.
That how is the math working?
Well, the math is working because I used to do all the builds.
Hmm.
And so how it works is now like I pay my delivery assistants and I make sure we charge more for the builds than what the delivery assistants make. And
Hmm.
so like I can work on selling those builds, filling their calendars,
Hmm.
working on marketing. So it's like my capacity to deliver and sell has quadrupled because now I don't know how the math works, but like if there was only one of me doing them and now there's
Right.
four of me doing them, then
Right.
we have like 4 VIP days going a week. There's no way I could do all of
Wow.
those and run a business and market all of that. And so we've also just really refined our systems as well with our VIP days. After they're done on the build day, they get the Fathom link and we say, here's your support ticketing system. If you ever need it, we're here for you. And like our
Because they're
support
in the
afterwards
program.
is there in the program. So like we don't have
Right.
to follow up with that. Like it's just like you're here for the year. We're here to support you. If you need more, you can book another day. We've also added it's called fix it for me hours. So they can just be like, hey, something broke. Can you fix it? I used to feel really guilty when something broke before because it's like, but they had this system and now it's broken, but they're out of their support period. It's like, we can fix it. Like, and so we've just really addressed all of the objections about our like offers and Airtable builds inside of one core offer.
Okay, I want to know because a lot of the advice that people get is charge your worth, charge your worth, charge your worth. And what I'm hearing is like you used to do these $10,000 bills that had some delivery issues, but you got Ashley's brain on your stuff for however a whole day. And now you're charging $2,500, but it seems like it's so much more value. What are your thoughts on that itself, and especially in the context of that advice of charge your worth?
Yeah, I think for me, I've also realized like I'd rather have more people getting the results and have that word of mouth magnified. Like I'd rather have 10 people in SOS loving what's happening and talking about me on threads than two people doing a $10,000 build. Those $10,000 build people also don't talk a lot. They like those types of buyers are like pretty quiet behind the scenes people. And like they're not yapping about how amazing this group program is and like blasting you out in a launch. It's just like that's what I found at least. And so I've just found it's really, and it's also like a lot of our curriculum is like so strong that the value of what you get inside of systems over stress is like in I could charge 5,000 for it, but also that means that there would be people that are beginners that can't buy it, and I'm like I'm okay with it and the numbers are working for me. We're actually like playing around with pretty much slashing our VIP day, like our build days, because I used to charge 1,500 because that's what my time was worth with my pricing now, I'm like, we could almost cut those in half and get more people getting bill days. And like we're just like playing around with that. I also think with the market right now, like lower ticket, like people are struggling, they are more conscious about their money. And so to be able to be a lower ticket thing, it does make people, it makes it an easier yes.
I think it's such a good example of like, I think charge your worth is very ego based,
Yeah.
right? It's very much like, what am I worth? And I think that's an insane question to start with.
Yeah, I'm not like, oh, if I put it up to $5,000 and nobody buys, am I not worth $5,000? I'm like, I
Right.
know this is worth 25,000. It also helps me sell a lot more because I'm like, I put my whole chest into it. I was like, you would be foolish not to buy this because it's
Right.
only 2,500 and you get all of this. If I was like, this is worth 25,000 and I am charging you 25,000,
25,000.
the energy is a little different. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, so I scream it, like shout it from the rooftops because I believe that it's such a good deal, and not at the expense of my capacity, or like I'm not stressed out, like I'm not, it's easy to deliver as well.
Yeah. I always tell my clients, even, you know, you mentioned the spender series earlier, when you spend money on current problems, you should expect to see at least a 5x ROI.
Mhm.
So what if I'm spending 2,500, what is five? That's 12,500 in value I should extract.
Yeah.
And to that point, if you're like, this is worth 25,000, but you only get 25,000 in value, it's a 1x.
Yeah.
Or it's not even a 1x, it's a 0x, it's a break even. You don't want your clients breaking even on your investment.
No.
You want them being like, holy shit, I got so much more value out of this than it cost me.
Yeah, and I have an email that's like 3 ways to 3x your ROI on systems over stress. And it's like, yeah, if you set up our offboarding automation that automatically reminds your people to re-sign, and your program is 1,500 and you make 10 of those, hello, like, and you set that up once and like it's going for you. So I can have so many different, I don't want to like fight to get to the break even mark for that.
I just got a re-sign yesterday.
Yay.
Through our automations.
So did I, actually.
So nice. Hello. Yep. Amazing. Okay. Sounds like you're running a really smart business.
Thank you so much. I was also just on another money podcast and they were like, wow, sounds like things are pretty tight and lean over there. But I feel like that. I did not feel like that when I was crying to you last year in the middle of Ecuador on a on a staircase. But yeah, I've come a long way with a lot of your help, and you're a big part of it.
So, well, thank you. I'm so happy to be a small part of your success because it's so fun to see. I love seeing you. By the way, for people who are on Threads, go follow Ashley on Threads. Ashley's on Threads. I aspire to be on Threads to your level. I haven't gotten there yet. But if it's okay with you, I want to talk about the debt.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Give us an overview on just like overall your relation. Like, let's start actually emotionally. Like, what's your relationship with debt and how has that changed as, you know, from starting your business to now?
Overall, my relationship to debt has been, you don't have it. And if you have it, you're bad. And it should be pay off your statement balance every month, no exceptions. That was one of the first things you gave me coaching on, was I had money and I was worried about a runway for a launch, and you looked at my bank accounts and you were like, I was like, I need to figure out how to hustle and make 20K. And you're like, you have 20K in your bank account right now. What are you doing? I was like, oh no, I'm paying off my debt tomorrow. Like, so that's going to be zeroed out. And you're like, well, what if you don't? And that was one of the first times that you taught me like debt is a tool, and like literally running through the numbers of like, okay, if you don't pay this off, here's how much interest it's going to cost you for these 3 months. You're going to pay it off after the launch. Like, is it worth it to you? Like, using debt as a tool like that really, really changed my entire relationship with it. Because before it was, and I was in a partnership that was also very like no debt, no car payments, no nothing. You know, and so that was something that I always thought was bad. And you were the first person to ever teach me that it could be like a neutral to positive thing.
Okay, wait, side note. This is interesting. Being in a partnership with someone who is like anti-debt. A lot of my clients have this situation where they're like, my partner is very anti-debt, but we're coaching them on their business finances, and that's bleeding in. How did you navigate that? Because eventually you did end up keeping, at least that one time you kept that balance. How do you navigate having a partner who's very, very anti-debt, but then like you're running your business finances.
Well, spoiler alert, the marriage did not work. The relationship did not work.
Spoiler alert, we got divorced. I mean, before the divorce.
But before that.
Okay, well, actually, wait, was the divorce all because of debt?
No.
Okay,
No.
so see, there was,
yeah,
you guys figure something out.
different. No, but I mean, I will say, like, and I always said this, like, even when I was in the partnership, like, is an incredible person that was very supportive of my business, and he saw how much I was working on it, and he saw the potential of it. And there was actually a time, I think this was in 2020 or early 2021, where I was worried about how I was going to like pay my business bills. He took on a lot of the rent during that time, and there was a time when I was like looking at retail jobs, and I was like, I need a backup to show that I'm responsible. And if I can't do it here, I will still make money and contribute to the household in some way. And I remember him sitting down and was like, what's the hourly of that thing? And I was like, I don't know, like $20 an hour. He was like, do you think if you spent 15 hours trying to get clients and make that extra couple grand, you could do that? And I was like, yeah. And he just like put 10K in he like gave me a business loan that I did pay off. Like we would look at it that way, because he also did have more savings than me because he saved and I spent. That was kind of our like styles. And so there were times where he was like, it doesn't make sense for you to get a job, or it doesn't make sense for you to take on credit card debt. Let me be like the interest-free debt. So it was still a positive, like he was very helpful and supportive in that way, which I'm very grateful for. But it was still like, credit card debt is bad. Take the debt from me and zero that out. And so like that was kind of the balance. So ultimately, I think it ended up getting to a point where I was like, the business, I think this is like when I was getting coaching from you, it's like the business money and my money are total, like how we deal with those things are two very different things.
Yeah. It's hard to get there, especially when you're like a solopreneur and you're like, well, it's all me.
Yeah.
So it's all me.
Well, yeah. And like he was there when I spent that $15,000, but on that event, I was like, well, that's a business expense. And he was like, do what you want to do. Like, he wasn't like, I'm sure he was like, this is a bad idea. But he did not say that to me.
I asked, I had a client the other day who was struggling with her husband about an investment that I think she needed in her business. And I asked my husband, I'm like, why have you never said anything? Because like, I've spent money, I've thrown down cash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's like, well, you pay yourself every month, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, and are you in trouble? And I'm like, no. And he's like, okay, so there you go. Like, why do I have to be involved in? And he's like, do I know the day-to-day of your business? I'm like, no. And he's like, so how would I know what to say?
Yeah.
Which I'm so thankful. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, I think my partner took that approach as well. It was just like, I don't get it. But like, and also like he did pay some of our like expenses, but he was like, I see when these scales will flip, and like just like fully transparently. And unfortunately, like those scales did flip after we separated. And like there is a part of me that like, I am grateful for how much he sacrificed in our relationship to help me get to this point. And like legally, I'm not obligated to obviously like pay back those, things. And yeah, that's been a tough, like interesting part as the growth of the business has grown since the separation.
Let's talk about, okay, so we talked about no debt. Debt is bad. We got over that. Let's talk about the Stripe loan.
Yes.
What happened with the Stripe loan, Ashley?
I love that Stripe loan. Honestly, I'm like so grateful for it. So essentially, a quick timeline was where are we in October? We're 2025 now. So it was October of 2023. I asked for the separation, and then by February 2024, I had asked for a divorce. So there was like a few months there. When I was doing that, my business was pretty much coasting, and I can actually, let me group by like month and year to see. But like maybe 8K months, 7K months, 10K months, and I needed more than that in my business. And so like I would see, like I had savings and I had the launch, and then things were going down, and I just like, by the time I asked for the divorce, I was like in such like a fight. I was in a freeze mode 100%. I was like, I can't hustle right now. I can't bring on new clients. I was making a lot of my money through one-on-one during that time. And I was like, the idea of taking on one-on-one clients is like too much. a launch seems too much. And I just like didn't know what to do. And I was crying on a coaching call, and you DM'd me and you were like, call me after this. And so I remember being like, I don't know what to do. And something that you teach your clients and I've benefited from is you're like, just put all of the options on the table. Like, what are all of the options? Hustling to get clients is an option. So is cutting your team. So is getting a loan, like all of the different options. And just having that like was really helpful. And I remember at that time, Stripe, slid a little offer into my email. And I was like, well, this is an option. And before, I had never taken a loan like that. And I remember I had that up while I was on the call with you. And I think it was like $44,000, and it was $6,000 of that was like the interest or whatever that is. And you just helped me run the numbers and see like this is an option. And if this really feels like the safest option for you, so you can heal, so you can be a little chiller, like as you figure out what you need to do next, you were like, you have my permission. You're like, this is an option that you can consider if that's what you want to do. And so that's what I did. So I took that loan. I think it kicked in that like year, like that month. Oh yeah, I see February 2024, the month that I had the divorce, was a $9,000 month, and everything above that, like before that, was like at least 25K. So I was scared. And I did not see a path of how to like easily make up that deficit. So that's what I chose to do. And I knew, I was like, okay, you're betting on yourself to like pay this off, because they take out a percentage, like the how Stripe loans work is they take out like 20% of all the sales that come into your Stripe, and that doesn't even hit your bank account. And so I was making like that 257, it like, that's why it doesn't feel like that, I think, because like 20% of that basically I never saw actually hit my bank account, right? So
that's actually a good point.
Yeah, because last year was a 257 year, but almost 57 of it was Stripe loan. So like that is actually never hit my bank account. And that's why like I'm looking at the top line revenue of like I brought in 257, 50 of that is something that I never saw. And I think that was why I was like, looked at my friends who are making similar amounts of money to me. And I'm like, why are you going on trips all the time? And like, how are you affording to do all these things? I was like, I'm struggling. I was like, oh, right. You have 50K of it is like not your money, like you borrowed it. And so
Yes.
That's been helpful to be like, okay, I actually can have the lifestyle that I want around this. Like I want to grow more, obviously, but it's been helpful to, as I paid off that all early. So it all came out, like it all finished in December 2024. So was nice to have this year at least start. I still had business debt and personal debt that I paid off this year already, but I started this year with the Stripe loan paid off.
Done.
And I was like, cool, I don't want to do that again, but I'm so happy I did it. And I'm so happy it was an option.
100%. I would call that keep the lights on debt, where it's like, I just need this money to keep the lights on. And I always say, like, we do want to avoid that debt as much as possible, especially when it's chronic. Mm-hmm. That is what kills people, where it's like every month you're going in to keep the lights on debt. I'm like, oh, your business just fundamentally isn't working. But at the same time, as much as I say we want to avoid it as much as possible, we also need to do what we got to do, right? And we should never shame ourselves for doing what we got to do, because you just don't, like, life is always going to throw you a curveball.
Yeah, and I think that was a big thing that I remember you asking me is like, do you know how you got into this debt? And like why you need this? I was like, yeah. I was not paying attention to my runways. I was not planning launches accordingly because I wasn't managing my time. Like I was like, I know neutrally all of the reasons why I am in this spot. I also know that if I commit to this, I can get out of this, and this won't need to be a recurring chronic problem. And that's why I felt very confident. It wasn't like I was like trying to like patch a sinking ship. I was like, I know what got me into this mess, and I can just be like, cool, I'm not going to do that again. Let me buy some time, and like, let me not make those mistakes again.
How does it feel now not having those payments every single month?
It feels great to look at my bank account and to see, we actually just did the numbers today because we use your cash flow water flow system, and I had my I have my operating, I have my reserve, I have my little Novo account. So I have 15K in one and I have 2 months of savings in the other. We have our taxes, and now I had to make a new account called surplus, which I was like, okay, so I have the 15K and now I have the 30K of the 2 months, and now I have the taxes. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this extra.
Wait, you know what that's for, right?
What's if I well I want to wait until I know my taxes like for this month, but I don't know what to do with that part. That's the next I haven't reached that problem yet.
That's called an owner's pay increase.
Yeah.
If there's
I think
nothing else going on, that's
yeah.
called an owner's pay increase.
I'm excited about that. Like that's what I think is next, which is feels really exciting because I paid off my business debt earlier this year after one launch, and then after the next launch I paid off all of my personal credit card debt. I still have like marriage, like relationship agreement stuff to pay off, which is like interest free, which is great. That stuff that is like a sizable chunk that I'm like, okay, I need injections from the business to pay that off. So like that's that surplus. I'm like, I just want to make sure that I have like the systems and it feels right to do, but like I will be able to like send large chunks over to that, which feels
Yeah.
really exciting.
No, that'll be done.
Done. Yeah.
Done.
So
What I would say is if you have a surplus account, not only can you afford a monthly increase because it sounds like your waterfall is waterfalling all the time,
mhm.
but you could take that surplus amount as a one-time payment as well.
Yeah, I think so. I have to, yeah, I'm figuring out, I have to look at like, I think with my accountant or something, like what's the difference between like when do I like it on my pay stuff, like increase my salary versus do like owner's distributions recurring, that like something about what's the average expected salary, all that thing. I'm trying to be smart about it before I'm just like, it's mine.
Well, I'm like, it is yours. No,
Yeah.
what you're talking about is reasonable compensation for S corps,
Yes.
and
Hmm.
you do want to make sure that over the course of the year, like you're not distributing. I don't know. Let's say you distributed 100K and you took 30K as a W-2 salary. That would look really funky.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you definitely want to talk to your accountant. But my thought process is you could probably increase your W-2 every month, and then like that chunk, take that as a distribution right now.
I feel pretty solid that that's where we're going to be, which
Yeah.
feels really exciting. Because also
So
like we are set on our expense. I'm not like yay more. I think this is also a huge thing. I'm like I could pay because I used to be like, oh, $500 for a template or a training, that's nothing. I'm like, but $500, I'm like, what could that do in my personal life? Which that is something that I've heard you say on coaching calls all the time when people want to like invest in a program. It's like, well, what if you took your kids on a ski trip instead? Like, would you rather do that? I'm like, wow, I just moved to a new state. And I'm like, yeah, I'd actually rather have like a fancy new, I don't know, like something for the house instead of just like buying a new thing for the business.
yes, like that's good. We're there. That's the
It
point.
sounds so silly, but like, so I know so many of us make it's
Yes.
so easy to drop 15K on a 3-day event. And what if I put that $15,000 to like a 2-month trip in like, I don't know, Thailand? Like I could have done that with the same money, but I didn't. Like that felt so crazy to do. And like in the online business world, dropping 15K for a 3-day event is like, it's so normalized. And so I'm like, I don't normalize or like celebrate that stuff anymore. I'm like, let's get the profit like over to me, please.
100%. And I think it kind of comes back to not necessarily like everyone is thinking this at the top of their brain, but I think there's such a culture of like tax deductions
Yeah.
and like lower your tax and whatever, it's a tax write-off and that like helps justify the expense more. And I'm like, yeah, I just much rather pay insanely higher taxes, but have more money.
Yeah.
I'd
Which
rather do that.
I was on Threads, Queen of Threads, and my threads that always are the most viral are like when I'm proud of myself for a financial achievement. And one of them was like, I just paid $16,000 in taxes today. And I'm like, I had the money and I paid it and it was not a big deal. And someone that was like, why aren't you paying quarterly? That's stupid. I was like, girl, that is quarterly. Like, and she like couldn't. She's like, no. And I was like, I regret to inform you that I make so much money that like that was my quarterly. And like some bros in the chat were like, oh, like that's way high and you could really get that down by doing da 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 da. I was like, I don't know. Like Gina told me that. I was like, I don't mind. I'm like, I have the money in my account. I'm paying. It just is working for me.
I did similar. I think I saw you and then I was like, oh, I'm going to do one too. And last year I owed an additional 137,000 at tax time. And I had it. It was fine. And I posted a similar thing. And this bro commented, you really should be paying zero in taxes by leveraging real estate to like do tax loss harvesting, and you should really hire a financial advisor. Da, da, da. And I'm like, yeah, bro, it's okay. I'll just keep my profit. I don't want to buy real estate to show a loss
Yeah.
and not have cash. Just give me the cash. I'd rather just have the cash.
Yes.
People are wild. They're wild.
Yeah.
Especially about
I
taxes.
still don't know what, like, I don't know anything about taxes. And sometimes I'm like, oh, like, I'm like, but it just is, that part feels like hacking a system that I don't need to hack. It's like when people are like trying to be like, Gmail is increasing their pricing. How should I get off of Gmail to save the money? I'm like, why are we thinking about that? I'm like, just don't think about that. Like, just like, there's different
like
problems to be looking at.
$10 increase.
Yeah.
This is a $10 problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've learned a lot, and it feels really like now money is so much more neutral because of you and everything that you've taught me. And it's like, cool. Yeah. There's a waterfall system where it's like this, then surplus. And it's not like, and if we're lower 1 month, we borrow from the operations fund. And it's just this like, so the maths, it's math. That's all it is. And it just feels like so much less like charge your worth. Are you worthy of, all of that stuff.
Up level, spend 20,000, up level.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I really have to thank you. You're the reason for the cash flow waterfall. Cause remember, we created it because you were like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let me make it simple.
Yeah, I do. I always am like, no big deal. I am the client that originated the waterfall.
That's like me with Kirsten. I'm like, no big deal. I am the client that created $1 million email. You're welcome, everybody, for being a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But it's always like the niche case. As a designer, like a trained designer, I always say when you design for the extreme, you design for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And the extreme we were designing for you was the ADHD, and like the spreadsheets were hard, and and all the impulse spending, all the things that come with ADHD and money. And I'm like, yeah, that's why the system is so good. It's because it's designed for a challenging case.
Yeah.
So it addresses everybody so much better.
It's a challenging case, but it's also very easy to delegate. Like I just had a new operations manager, and I was like, hey, here's how the accounts work. Like just here, move, and it's done. And so they're able to like.
Your operations person is in your bank account?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I've never thought to do that.
I absolutely, and like they pay my gusto, like they just do it all. Like I look at everything, so I can see if anyone's like any shifty business is happening. But like I trust the people on my team,
Wow.
And so they know the waterfall system, and they move things every month, and they fill out our profit and loss spreadsheet that we have from Small Business Money School, and they know the numbers, and they know how much to move from our reserves to our taxes because of the spreadsheets that we have from you. So yeah, I've delegated all of that because I simply wouldn't do it.
Any final thoughts about just like life, not even money, but just life as an entrepreneur, what it's taken to get here? Was it worth it?
Yes, I still think it's worth it, especially because like I know so many friends who and people who chose the tech world because that was the safest bet. And as we see with all the layoffs, and as we see with AI, like entrepreneurship really is, I think, the safest skill you can have when it comes to like your financial future. And I'm so grateful. Like I'm not rocked by the layoffs news. I'm not rocked by anything, like, because I know that the skills that I have. And so that's really helpful. And I think that you're a testament. I'm a testament. So many of our peers are a testament of sticking with one offer and really making that better and selling that. So many times, like I get a little like nervous when I just see people on threads be like, I had an idea for a new offer and I can't wait to roll it out. I'm like, that is going to be an offer that none of us hear about in 2 months. Like you're going to try it. You're not going to get the sales that you want. And like, you just have these like this graveyard of offers that you've tried, when instead, if you could say, how could I make this one offer that I have even better, the best in the industry? I've seen you do that with Small Business Money School by adding features. I do that in Sales Systems Over Stress by having the one offer to having the done for you inside of it. So that's the biggest thing I would say. Like to have money, you have to sell something, and to be really good at selling and delivering one thing and I know I have ADHD, it can feel exciting to like want to do a bunch of different offers, but to put all of that creative energy into selling and making one thing the best it can be, that is why my business feels so simple to run. That's why our money is so simple, because it's not like, oh, we had an offer 3 months ago that was this and we don't sell it anymore and it was at this price point. Like, it's just easy, and the math is easy because what we sell is easy. So just make things easy. Like, sell an easy, sell a simple thing. Simple business like is the way to go. And so that's my, if you're watching this and be like, wow, like I want to hit 200K years or anything like that, or how do you grow year over year? It's by getting more and more simple and more streamlined and more refined on one thing that you sell.
I cannot stress how important that is enough. And not just for online businesses. I have clients who are floor salespeople, or they have cafes and stuff, or like randomly, I got a lot of clients who do like embroidery on shirts, or like silk screen for
Oh,
like
cool.
baseball teams and stuff. And it's always the businesses in any niche that have 20,000 different offers that are the least profitable. And they don't know why, because it's hard to track. And I always like to say, like, you have, if you have a lot of offers, one of your offers is probably really expensive revenue. Like, it costs you $20,000 and it makes you maybe 25.
Mm-hmm.
But you think, I don't want to let go of the $25,000 in revenue because I can't. And I'm like, yeah, but it's costing you so much money. And yeah, like, that's just such sage advice for literally any niche, but especially online businesses. And especially when you look at, like, if you want to scale, literally imagine doing what you're doing at scale. Does it sound fun?
Yeah.
It would not be fun to have 40 different offers at scale.
Yeah, and that's really the work that I do, is helping create systems that you can scale and offer. And a lot of the times, like, our clients will have a mastermind and a group program. Like, having two of those, like, that's okay. But also thinking about, like, if I brought in double the amount of clients, would all of my systems break because we do this? Like, there's just too many, like, niche, like, just little, like, nuances to all of your stuff. It's like, well, when they get onboarded like this, it's this way. Anytime you have, like, all of those things, that's something as, like, that's the hard, tough love advice, especially as the ADHD business owners who love to be multi-passionate. You can be multi-passionate. You can be multi-passionate in one offer, one or two offers, and make that the best it can be. I promise you're not serving yourself or your clients by, like, letting your, like, multi-passionate brain start and launch all these offers that nobody's gonna, like, know that you sold 6 months ago, like, because you just moved on to the next thing.
Well, this is like, it brings up, like, why do you have to be multi-passionate all in your business? Go have a life that's multi-passionate too.
Yeah.
Go have hobbies and travel and, I don't know, have a journey or two.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't all have to be funneled into your business.
Yeah.
And I think this kind of goes to, like, you are not your business and your business is not you. There's financial separation, but there's also, like, identity separation that can happen
100%.
too. Because I'm really multi-passionate. I just have a ton of hobbies. And my
And
business is
I'm multi-passionate in what I want to teach people with Airtable, but I just put it on systems over stress. I'm like, oh, we're going to launch a project management template. I'm going to put it inside the systems over stress. We might sell one off later, but, like, it's nice to be like, and I'm not worried about, oh my God, is there too much value inside of systems over stress now? It's like, that will only make you better in the industry if you have so much value, as long as you're not, like, overstuffing. If there's a purpose and there's a reason and it all makes sense and there's a through line, like, you can get really creative in that way.
Yeah, I do that with my live challenges. I'll do a live challenge when I'm feeling inspired. And I'm just like, oh, I'll just throw in a live challenge and people can participate or not, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be great, but it's a way to channel into the offer without making 10, because I could have a new offer for every topic.
Yeah. And it just, like, makes your profit simple too. It's like everything is so simple right now. And I'm just like, and I think now, like, I'm able to focus on, I'm working on a funnel. Like, and I'm like, I get to, like, play with a funnel and play with more evergreen marketing tactics because, like, this offer is not changing all the time. And, like, what I'm selling in that funnel is not changing a bunch of times. And so, like, I get to play with even more systems, and that's, like, extra creative stuff that, like, is just going to help me make more money.
So good. Okay, Ashley, where can the people find you?
Threads and Instagram are the best. I'm at Systems Over Stress on those places. I also have a YouTube channel. So we have lots of fun stuff. Like, a lot of, if you want to see what Airtable looks like, if you want to see these systems in practice, looking at them on the YouTube channel is the best place to go. But I'd start with, if you have watched it all the way to the end of this, DM me on Systems Over Stress on Instagram. Say hi. I love a little voice memo. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Amazing. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in and listening. Thank you, Ashley, for being so generous with your time and your knowledge. If you've listened to this and you want to go watch it on YouTube, this will be on YouTube too, and we'll tag you in on all the things.
Yay. Awesome. Thanks, Gina.
Bye.